that says right there that this is the kind of relationship we're going to have throughout the entirety of this transaction.
That's right.
So in the beginning, you want to introduce that. So that's what I do. So you can expect that I'm going to give you a call within an hour once you give me a call. If I can't get in contact with you, then you're going to know why I can't get in contact with you. So, you'll get a text message.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We're here live on BigExposedRadio.com. Today is our official first show of our fourth year, going into our fourth year here on Big Exposed Radio.
Congratulations
to everyone.
Yes, thank you.
So Saturday was our anniversary show. We celebrated 3 years here on BigExposedRadio.com, and like I said, it's been a very interesting couple years. The first year I didn't count that because it's kind of like, you got to get your feet wet. You're doing things that don't really make sense, but you're just doing it because you're an artist and that's what your heart is telling you to do. The second year I got a little bit better. The third year is ultimately, I think, my best, or our best, because I learned a lot of lessons. But the past month has been, you have to, as artists, as entrepreneurs, just in people in general, be careful what you ask for. If you're a praying person, be careful what you pray for, because my God gives you exactly what you ask for, how you ask for it. And throughout my 20s, I was always busy. Everything overlapped and just coincided with each other. All my creative projects, theater and curating and the jewelry and just being an artist, being a student, everything just collided and just was going from one thing overlap to the next thing. And I for the last, I say between like 28 to maybe like 31, I was like, I can't live like that no more. I'm tired. So I slowed down and I really became real methodical about what I chose to do and how much I chose to do, just to preserve your energy. You gotta be able to be alert doing all of those things. I was like sleeping like real weird times, but in the last couple years, actually the last 3 years, I've tried to be more, try to add layers onto what I do. And this last month has been extremely busy. I just closed the show called As Much As I Can. It was written by a young lady out of New York. She is more of a, she called herself, I believe, a purpose writer, where she works more on issues, specific issues that plague communities. And she wrote this play on HIV and AIDS. And it was a phenomenal, immersive theater experience. Her name is actually Sarah Hall. It was produced by by Harley and Company and directed by Mr. James Walsh. They're all mostly out of New York, and they brought a couple cast members down here, and they produced this play in January, and then they took it to Mississippi in March, and now it came back here to Baltimore. And it was a phenomenal play experience in that it wasn't normal. There wasn't like an audience where you saw a stage ahead of you. It was more, the stage was these individual rooms that all had a theme depending on what part of the play it was in, and the audience actually walked around to each one of the sets and became a part of each one of the scenes, which is really uncomfortable for both parties, because there was no fourth wall, and often we were talking to the audience and including them into the conversation, into the script, and that was different for me. I had
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Hello, and happy Saturday. You are listening to the Artist Exchange Radio Show powered by BeExposedRadio.com. I am your host, Zakia Ayana, aka Sweet Baby, and with me in the studio, I have Amira, who's an author. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Amira Rasayan, and as she said, I am an author. This will be my first book novel.
That is great. This is your first book, and you said it is historical fiction. Can you tell me more about that? Because, like, as soon as you said that, I was intrigued. Like, that's my...
Okay. So it is called The Eight Pillars of Timbuktu. It's a historical fiction novel, potentially a series later down the road. It is geared towards young adults, so teens between like 13 to 17 years of age, and it's based in Timbuktu, the Mali Empire.
Okay, and what made you decide that? Did you think that it was a void that needed to be filled, or what made you decide that this was something that you wanted to do?
I agree with you with those words when you said in terms of void that needs to be filled. On a couple of reasons why is because a lot of books that I've encountered recently that deal with African American culture or African culture, recent fiction novels kind of deal with after once, you know, slaves have been moved over to the United States, dealing with segregation and oppression. And I wanted a book that could highlight the golden empires of Africa, the roots of African culture, and highlighting those mythical and magical aspects that I feel have been on the back burner recently. So I wanted to highlight that for young readers and just make them aware that there is this other magical world that exists, and that it was tangible, that it did exist in one of the golden empires with universities back around the 1400s.
That's incredible. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
What kind of research did you have to do to get going with a book like this?
So initially the book kind of came to me. I had a different take on it from the beginning. I was thinking of a children's novel, just something simple. And I did have to do some research later. I found out the research that I did on like Mansa Musa, who's one of the richest men in historical context, and another oral character that's been set in like African culture was Sundita Keita, kind of like the founder of Timbuktu. And I've listened to some transcripts. One was from a professor at University of Maryland, and she actually wrote a book on the historical oral traditions and stories that came about for Timbuktu and that culture. So I've looked at several different books. I've looked at one from Felix Du Bois, and that was kind of targeting the cultural, economic, political advancements that were in Timbuktu. And he actually went there and researched it after, you know, Timbuktu was no longer standing, but just seeing the archaeological and the architectural structure. So all those kind of things are integrated as little golden nuggets in my book. So there's a lot of cultural references in terms of the architecture or the style of clothing or the people. And the book is kind of geared around a time where there's like this internal warfare that's going on. So it has all those kind of cultural golden nuggets integrated in the book to also educate young readers about tangible, authentic culture that existed back in that time.
I was going to ask for a little synopsis. You touched on like warfare or wartime. Can I get a brief synopsis of what your book is about?
So the book is geared around particularly three sisters ranging between the ages of, you know, 15 to 18 years of age. And they are kind of thrown into this, I'll say, a tornado of this internal warfare that kind of creeps up on them and their family where they live. And through this, they encounter, they're separated and they encounter these various different struggles. So they start to learn more about themselves and understanding that the world is not what it seems, or things don't turn out how they expected it to be. One of the characters thinks she kind of knows all the things, ins and outs, and then she comes to realize it's actually not what she thought at all. Another character learns that she needs to be more trustworthy and accepting support from outside factors or people in order to rise up, and realizing that her strength alone is not enough. And another character is dealing with kind of the struggles of the nation and just the wounds that happen based off of people being torn from their families, and she's kind of like a healer in the story.
Okay.
So it's centered around 3 sisters that kind of go through those life struggles and changes, complications, tribulations, and then later down the line there's another character, 2 other characters that are male characters, and you kind of get an inside peek on them as the sisters come in contact with them when they hit the city of Timbuktu.
Besides seeing the void that needed to be filled in a literary sense, what was there any other inspiration that drew you to this time in Timbuktu with your story?
So yes, again, it was kind of the ancient golden empire. Timbuktu, you kind of hear about it, you hear about the name, but other than probably some factual stories that reference the cultural significance and the economic or political development, you don't see much of that. That's, I feel, tangible to a wide, diverse young audience. So that was one reason or inspiration. Another one was I started the book kind of as on a personal note, as a tribute to my younger sister, and you know, who recently transitioned like in 2012. So it was a tribute and honoring her. So one of the characters is centered around her. That's kind of what prompted me to do the book in the first place. And so it became a healing factor for myself as well. And as a visual fine artist, in terms of profession, career, writing was another aspect that I went to in terms of a form of healing, and kind of revisiting those times that were difficult for me. You know, as a teen, she was a teenager when she passed away, age 17. So kind of revisiting what was important in life for young people, that fit what the value of life is, and kind of like accomplishments, but also struggles and how a person develops, and just revisiting those areas where people are exploring, you know, a time to grow or to rise above. So this was kind of also a tool in that retrospect.
Okay.
Yes.
You mentioned you are a visual artist. What kind of artwork do you do visually? Are you a painter, a sculptor?
So I call myself a multidisciplinary artist. So that's pretty much like various different media. I do large charcoal drawings from 6 to 4 feet. I've done digital photography, also traditional photography, and, you know, illustrations. But in the career field, I've done graphic design work. So it's a range between drawing, photography, graphic design work, and a little bit of illustration. So interesting, you note that in this book, I also am a fan of, you know, comic books and things like that. So I've also included some little snippets on the characters and just like a little short bio script kind of them also in the book. So
that was, wow. Is being a visual artist, do you think that your insight on visual artistry helped with writing the book?
Yeah, so in my process for doing this book, I think one of the things that helped me was actually drawing the characters out and just making them more tangible and connecting with them and developing their personas, their personalities, and their character, and having those visual descriptions also inserted into the book. So I did draw the scenes out, where the places would look like, you know, did research on what Timbuktu and the architecture looked back, how it looked back then with the adobe structures, and that I think was also a good key role in helping me bring this visual aspects to the book as well.
When writing, how detailed did you get in describing the scenery and the people? Because I'm like, I want to read this book already. It's already right up my alley. Like how did you determine like what to describe or what to leave out, what was not necessary for the book?
So I usually start visual scenes off as if I were walking through a dream. So in terms of how something feels or how something smells, kind of the memory aspects, I think is what resonates with people. Like if there's a scene and there's like a burning fire that's happening, you know that your eyes itch or they start to water, or if you smell something and it throws you off and you're not sure what it is. So kind of like a lot of suspenseful triggers in terms of the senses, I think were a way for me to communicate with my audience and make them experience what the characters were experiencing, the feelings through the different senses of like smell or touch, or if it was pitch black and you're not able to see anything or you suddenly trip over something, just those suspenseful scenes through various different senses other than being able to clearly see something. So that's kind of how I bring the scenes to life, and through the characters' experiences, because everything's pretty much in like first person, so you're actually in the character's shoes.
Did you go to school for writing or your visual artistry?
I did go to school. I went to MICA in Baltimore, Maryland Institute College of Art, and I went there for environmental design. It's currently called architectural design, and I also minored in illustration and art history, and I did take some courses in Africana culture, so I think that also helped me have a certain level of appreciation and exploring our roots and just making it more accessible to a wide audience. So I did go to school for the visual arts, and then I on the side did I took in some creative writing courses included as well, and I also do creative writing on the side, whether it's like open mic or poetry. So kind of taking those aspects and integrating all into this book.
Do you favor one over the other, your visual art or your writing?
So they both do different things for me, and I think I do not favor one over the other. They are special gems in their own right. So I get something different from out of both of them. So writing is another way of healing. Drawing is kind of like an ongoing practice. So you just kind of get into a mindset. It's like doing exercise. Like once you're in that zone, you're just constantly in that zone when you're drawing something. And when you're writing, you're forced to explore your thoughts and just putting them all together. So I think both of them do different things, and I love them both the same.
Well, we will take a commercial break. You are listening to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, powered by BeExposedRadio.com. Stay tuned.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show. So since we're talking about the book, can you give people a synopsis of what the book is and what's the name of the book again, and then what it's about?
The name of the book is From Trial to Afflictions. More than one, because there were more than one afflictions.
Yes.
The book is talking about, actually, it's my life story. And I have to add in there that when that prophet told me, he said, tell your story, write the story. He said, and God said, tell your addiction Now, see, I'm not going to tell the addiction because you have to get the book to read it. But it was about deliverance. It was about all the trials and tribulations we go through. People that come into our life, even people that come to try and break you down or draw you down, so that you can't stand for God or worship Him through your situation, because that's the adversary using them. We have to know that. But through it all, I was still praying and fasting. I needed help from God. I really did. I needed help from God to see me through. And for anyone that's going through, I say that this book is about different afflictions.
Yes.
Going through them, how you get through them. And I had a sister pushing me too, praying for me. I thank God for that again.
Yes.
But it also talks about deliverance. There is deliverance in the process.
Yes.
And you have to be willing to see yourself first, to know that you need deliverance.
Yes.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on Be
This the
Exposed
man
Radio.
that holds it down, Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm in a relationship. My girl happens to be long distance. So with that being said,
I beat my thing like it owes me money. Sorry.
Because I asked that because so many people are not comfortable.
Here's my thing. It's mine.
That's right.
And you need to know yourself before you can have somebody please. If you can't tell nobody how to please you, if you don't know how to please yourself.
That's right.
You know what
That's
you
what
like.
it's all about.
You know what you like. You know the stroke, all that. So you're right. And I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's your body. Yeah, I'm over here struggling with the ear.
Yeah, I'm glad it's you today. I'm glad it's you today, brother.
Oh, this thing going to drop. It's going to drop about at least like 5 times.
I'm over there struggling.
So E. D, do you have a problem with masturbating?
No, I don't. I don't masturbate often because I have a fear of going blind. So, yes. When I found, yes.
You could go blind from
Yes. I read about it. Is that true?
No.
It's not true.
It's not.
Okay.
Because I was going to say I should have been blind a long time ago.
Let me drop some knowledge on you real quick.
I was just playing.
But
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice Products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to the Artist Exchange Radio Show powered by BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Zakia Ayana, aka Sweet Baby, and in the studio with me is author of 8 Pillars of Timbuktu, Amira, I'm sorry, your last name?
Rasayan.
Amira Rasayan.
Yes.
And over the break, we were talking about, just writing and what voids need to be filled, or our opinions on that sort of thing. And I was talking about the book that I'm having in the works, and the question that I had it just slipped my mind. The question that I had for you was, you're okay. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, this is my first time doing this by myself. The main characters in your book, what do you have a favorite of the 3 sisters?
Okay. I do not have a favorite of the 3 sisters, and maybe sometimes people should say, yes, I love this particular one or something, but I love them all for different reasons. As I kind of mentioned before, the book was kind of initiated as a tribute for my younger sister. So one of the characters is based off of her, and the other character is based off of my older sister.
Okay.
And the third sister is based off of kind of my character and personalities. So I think what makes the characters so rich is that they were based off of real people, real individuals. So I'm able to kind of they're more tangible, I think, in that sense. When you have something based off of real life experiences or actual people, I think it makes them more tangible and easier to grasp. So I think that's what will make the book kind of rich, is the fact that it's based off of real people who have been through real struggles, and each of them are completely different characters with completely different personalities. And they're actually dealing with the characters during their teens. So my little sister was 17 years old, in high school, kind of like a healer person, and then another character kind of like an outcast versus another character who was kind of seasoned, well-rounded in terms of academics. So there are three drastically different characters, but they're, again, all put in these situations where they don't have any control and they have to adapt. So again, I like them all for various different reasons and how they pick up those challenges and kind of react to them.
How are you able to get into the mind of teenagers from an era that you haven't experienced?
So one of the things I think is that people, you have the basic growing stage. You have a baby, you have a child, you have a teenager, you have an adult, and it's pretty much timeless, whatever, era you're thrown into. There are just some core developmental things that I think every person experiences through their lifetime, the course of their lifetime, is that you have a period where you're exploring and you're trying to figure out the world. Hence a little child like touching something and you realize once you touch it, oh, it's hot, and not to touch it anymore, versus like a teen going through something. You think you know everything, but then when you're suddenly thrown into the situation, it totally throws you off guard. You're not sure what happens next. Or an adult, having lived a certain way for so long versus like traditions or belief systems, and then all of a sudden all that crumbling down, it's kind of timeless. There's always a period where there's internal warfare that's going on, or there's a period of a golden age, but in that golden age there's certain sacrifices that have to be met. So it's dealing with kind of core complications and tribulations that I think are timeless, even though it's set back in Timbuktu and like the mid-1300s. Those kind of core complications that can happen through life for any character, I think, is timeless. So I think that's how I'm able to, apply those things, even though it's in a different time era.
One of our Facebook Live viewers, Precious Givens, asks, does it make it hard to be objective when people talk about your work when you make the character so close to home?
Trying to wrap my head around the question.
When you see your characters are based on your siblings and yourself,
yes.
Does it make it hard to take criticism or to think objectively when somebody mentions or says something about these characters because they're so close to you?
No, I think that's one of the things about a writer is that, or any type of artist, is that you're always going to be letting out something that's personal. So, don't take any offense to any things, or in terms of being like objective. Again, I'm trying to also explore the global transitions that happen for a teenager, what they go through if they're going through high school, whether it's being self-reliant or experience someone like betrayal or like trust. So it's dealing with, even though they're kind of personal to home characters, it's kind of dealing with a broader universal sense of the struggles that teens can go through various different transitions or points in their life.
Are you published yet, or are you still looking?
I'm waiting backwards.
I'm sorry. We can get into that after the commercial break. You are listening to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, powered by BeExposedRadio.com.
I had got drunk one night. This is the night that I put my head through the window and everything. So.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice Products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. It's time for a flashback.
Now, I'm not going to say all Aries don't know.
It's just the one you had. That was just... Yeah, this the man that holds it down. Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm in a relationship. My girl happens to be long distance. So with that being said,
I beat my thing like it owes me money.
Because
Sorry.
I asked that because so many people are not comfortable.
Here's my thing. It's mine.
That's right.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Couple minutes left in the segment.
Sure.
Change is good.
Yes.
Knowing when to make that change in your life. And I think it's important that you know a strategy. You know where you need to go. But change is good. Everything don't stay the same.
Right.
And if you're a person, especially for old people, that can't accept change, then it's kind of hard. Right. I was going to a church. I'm gonna make this real brief. I was going to a church that could not, some older members. I attended the second oldest black Presbyterian church in the country. That's one. And why are you laughing?
Yeah, it's bad that you even knew that.
And that's the soundbite. Yeah. So
thank you, Eric.
we would play certain music, and we implemented a lot of equipment or instruments like drums and piano, and the style of singing changed. And two people out of the congregation, after the service, they would go up to the pastor, sit down, and say, "Hey, sit down. Let me talk to you." And they will critique each song in the service every week.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Some of our individuals are late. Okay.
You are listening to the Artist Exchange. I'm on?
No.
Oh,
that was the commercial.
Oh.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Powered by BeExposedRadio.com.
There we go.
I'm your host, Zakia Ayana, a.k.a. Sweet Baby. I'm joined with Nate.
Hey.
And author of 8 Pillars of Timbuktu, Amira Rasayan.
Hello.
Hey.
I love the cover of that book.
Oh, thank you.
Did you do the artwork?
I did.
Oh,
I'm doing everything original. It can get a little pricey, but I like to take all of my skill sets, and that's kind of one of the things that's why is this book
One
is so
stop
special.
shop.
Yes.
That's what's up. What's up.
Before we went on break, I was getting into publishing. You're published already?
It will be published in October.
And did you do self-publishing, or did you go through a publisher, like a large?
Self-publishing.
Okay.
Yes. So independent self-publishing.
And how did you decide that was the best route to take for your book?
So I think for the first book, again, I think it's important for an author, if you're first coming up as a self-publisher, to kind of just go through all the ins and outs of what it takes to put a book together. And it just makes you a little bit more familiar with the process. Maybe later down the road, I'll think about going to, an actual publisher and doing like a contract or partnering or whatever. But I think as an author, just going through all those specific steps helps me in my process and the output and production of the book. Again, everything is done from me, like the page layout, the cover of the book, the artwork. So I think that also just helps the author have a better understanding of that process. So when you go to next steps and join with someone else, you're kind of familiar with all those various aspects.
It's kind of the same process on the promotion side, because even if you're published by a big company, you still have to do the same type of promotion, because the more they do, the less you get financially. And I think it helps authors to, after so many authors come through the show, they all, and I've had a couple that's been on both sides that wish they would have started their self-publishing, because it, like you said, it teaches you the step-by-step, and it shows you where the big companies are spending your money, and why you don't get as much money, because that process can be very tedious. And they have the editor, they have the PR, they have all those things, but you still have to do all that work too, if you want your money, and if you want to make money, because they'll continue selling your book, but you'll get such a small percentage, because it's like the music industry, they take percentages for every single thing that they do.
As a writer, like, there's a lot of different aspects to go into writing books, and one of the things a conversation that I had with somebody not too long ago was chapter names. Do you have chapter names, or is it just chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so on? And okay, she answered that first.
Okay, so I do have chapter names for my books, and I also note which character is speaking, because as I mentioned earlier, it's done in first person, and it's from the perspective of those 3 characters, as long as those 2 other male characters I mentioned. So I do have names for the chapters.
Do you find that books with chapter names add something special to the book? And did you pull like your chapter names out of the context in the chapter, or was it like a sentence, or what inspired you to make chapter names?
So the chapter names are kind of based off of the characters' personalities a little bit. So they're very brief, probably max 4 words in the chapter. Not too complex, but they kind of give you a little bit of insight in terms of how the character sees,
foreshadowing.
Sees the world in their perspective. And I think that helps brings a little bit more realism and make them more tangible. As you hit a chapter, you know who you're about, whose world you're about to jump into, and kind of how they see things.
Is it difficult? Well, I won't say it that way. What are your main objectives for being a writer? Like, why choose that outlet opposed to being a graphic designer? Or
okay, so I like books. I love going to the bookstore. That's kind of just one of my main hangout spots.
Smell of books.
Yes. So I love going to the bookstore and hanging out. It's also a different way to delve into a world where you're just kind of separated from everyone else, and you just enter into this universe of this author and just getting a experience. It's like watching a movie, but it's a little bit more personal, and I think centered to the person, because there's no visuals there. There's descriptions and things like that, but you can kind of mold your own world through reading the words on a page. So I think in that way, writing's a little bit different from visual, where it's not like a concrete thing and you're just automatically, restricted to that one visual view of it, when it's transferred into film. But when it's writing, you have your own kind of mix into it. So the reader is also included into the writer's world, and the writer's kind of inviting them into that world.
Yes, that's one of my things about that's why I love to read books. And then it's one of the things that I hate when they translate movies, or when they translate books into movies, because I have this whole thing about how this person look, how they sound, and then when it's on screen, I'm like, no, that's not right.
Well, it's more time constraints that you're dealing with when it goes to film or television or even theater. Like you can do but so much outside of your imagination that can be real. Like movies, they got sci-fi, but if you really want the meat and potatoes, like it'll be a long, what was the Oprah movie, that long, it'll be like a 5 hour if you try to fit everything from the book into Beloved. Like Beloved stayed so close to the book that it was like a 5 hour movie. Like it was like 3 hours.
Well, not necessarily in terms of getting the story in, but just the characters. Like when you read a book, you think about how the character looks, how they sound, what they you know, how they walk, how they act. That's at least when I'm reading the book. Like I go into all of that. I had this whole thing about a character, and then I make them mine. And then when I go to the movies to see it, I'm like, that's not how you're supposed to be, or you don't talk like that. So, speaking of movies, would you see, or could you see your book making it to a big screen situation?
I've imagined that. I have imagined that because, again, I'm also a visual artist. So, as a visual artist, I do try to see what it will look like in terms of visual translation. So, I have thought about that in terms of like characters and probably scenes of where it would be staged and things like that. So, I think it's also important as you're writing to just have that strong visual potency as you're describing something. You already have to kind of have a visual world already, cooking or developing, marinating in your head, and then translating that into words. So I have thought of it in the visual sense if it were to transfer to film.
What are your lines that, like, I'm not gonna write about this, this is where I draw the line in the sand?
So I think when I was writing this book, just fleshing it all out, just writing it from scratch, then I go back and I find I'm like taking stuff out, I'm trimming it down, I'm adding new things that kind of add to the characters. I don't really like to draw certain lines. I do like to keep in mind my audience and who it's for, what messages I'm trying to resonate with them and trying to make them aware of, or just share certain experiences, or like the cultural educational aspects of it. But while I'm writing, I don't like to have those restrictions or lines. I like to have the people that are reviewing my book, for the editorial stage, editing and things like that, I'll have them come back to me saying, I'm not sure if you really need to have this. You seem like you're very too far off. Maybe you want to focus more on this. I would let my readers or reviewers tell me what they think is like too much or too less.
So I'll ask you this way. How much of you will you allow in your writings? Because it's easier to talk about other people. How much of you will you put in your writing? Or allow in your writing?
You mean you want like a percentage?
No, it don't have to be like a calculated percentage, but like, where do you draw the line about your personal story? Like, how much of you are you allowed to talk about?
So I think if I'm targeting like a teen audience, that's a period where there's a lot of transition that's going on, where a person's trying to figure out who they are, who they want to become, how they want to function in society. So I think with this process, I have to be open to that, and it's important to give a little bit or expose a little bit of yourself if you're trying to reach or hit a certain message with that particular audience. I think when you're in that period of being a teenager, you're exploring different things, you're experiencing and you're not familiar with certain challenges that come just thrown at you, whether that's family challenges or whether that's functioning in society, or if you're trying to figure out how you can contribute or help your family and become a supporting factor in that. So I think I don't really have that mindset when I'm writing
Mm-hmm.
in terms of having certain restrictions or lines drawn. I'm just trying to make sure that I convey a message and letting know that, you know, at that time period, it's okay not to know everything when you're in that period. It's okay to get help from other people if you need that help. If
Mhm.
there's like, in the story, like a time of war, there's internal warfare, you're being separated from your parents and your family, thrown into this situation where you don't know, you have to rely on others to get to this certain point, to reach this certain destination, and it's okay to get support. So I think that's one of the main messages that I have when I'm writing my book and the mindset that I'm in. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm saying, so she an open book.
Mhm.
Some people are a little nervous to do that. They're not really, they got that wall up when it comes to what they're writing about. If you could choose one person, famous, dead, alive, not famous, to write their story, who would you choose?
Someone famous.
It could be anybody, like anybody that you would love to be able to capture their story in like a biography or write their movie or documentary. Even if it's a group of people, like a culture, or it may not be an individual person.
Okay. A group of people. That's a tough question, because in terms of, I have like various different interests in various different cultures, and it's usually during probably a time of war, like struggle, and that was kind of one of the reasons that prompted me to do the book, getting into a time period that was golden prior to all those struggles happening. So I'm not able to place a name of a particular individual, and I just have various different interests. So
give me a couple of them then. Give me a couple.
A couple of interests that I have. So I like, you know, this is based off of African culture. So golden empires, Mali times periods where they change and transition, kind of, there was a period that happened back then where it was the falling of the empire. So when places are going
Get
through...
a little closer to your mic. You can just scoot over a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
Got it. Here you go.
Okay. When things are going through a certain challenge. So I think it's pretty, I have a pretty generic approach to that. So it's no particular, like I have interest in various different cultures because of the cultural richness of them. In terms of people or individuals, I like to get to know a person hand in hand, or just listen to, you know, autobiographies, or kind of just listen to various different stories for various different reasons. I think you get something different from each of them. So I don't have a particular person that I would probably want to, you know, investigate or deeper. It's just more so like on the broad spectrum. Like if you're in this type of career path, I'm interested in how probably a construction worker and like all their various different facets, or someone that's probably left from a border from another country, or they were going through those types of struggles, what their experience was as a person. And no particular celebrities particularly come to mind. I mean, it'll be interesting to get that perspective on how that lifestyle is. I'll be interested in that broad scope, but more so like the different experiences that each person has based off of probably where they're at in life or a situation. So
have you gone to some of these places that you relish in history?
So unfortunately, I have not been to Africa. I would love to. At one point I did have the opportunity to go to Egypt before everything that happened. And I do have an interest. There was something on the National Mall, I think last year, probably in the fall, where they were talking about the tents and the refugees that happened, and just doing a walkthrough was kind of a traveling exhibition. I'm not sure. I think it may have been with Red Cross, and kind of how they respond to refugees and what they had to go through from Sudan and moving through those places. So it was kind of like that experience. So I'm interested in probably the experience of what the actual people would have to go through, and hearing about knowing to take certain things sometimes we take for granted, but realizing that there's certain places in the world that, like third world countries, kind of can be underdeveloped, and there's certain things that are happening in the world that there's a certain value. So that was a walkthrough experience, traveling exhibition, and it was to see what the refugees would have to go through if they wanted to move from this place to another place.
Okay.
So I think, to answer your question in a nutshell, just the broad experience of the person, the individual, based off of a certain period in transition in their life that they had to go through. More interested in that versus like one particular person, but rather like their skill or their craft, or where they're at in that point in life.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Miss Amira when we return to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. As busy as you are, because they're good at itemizing their time, and they actually have a passion for what they do. One of the biggest lessons that I learned, I get to say this on Weird, was finding people who are not only interested in doing what you need to get done, but people who have a passion for it, because that will eliminate the idea of people just working for a paycheck. Right. Because when people sign up for a paycheck, we all had jobs where we slacked off, where we stole away in a little storage room.
Fell asleep.
Thank you.
I saw a meme the other day that had Bart Simpson and the little boy with the glasses. I didn't watch the show, so don't be mad at me. Don't send me no daggum messages. The little boy with the glass, Millhouse, that was his name. He's showing him a cave, and it says, when you're asked to show around the new coworker, and it says, this is where I come to cry. Cool.
Didn't get a chance to tune in last week? Well, here's what you missed on the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Being a stage actor, how has that prepared you for comedy?
Oh, man. I think that being a thespian definitely gave me a head start and an advantage over most of the guys that just go right into comedy. I mean, it definitely helps with stage presence, memorization, just, you know, a lot of comedians in the city, they don't consider every aspect of the performance, like what you're wearing, you know, how you say certain words, and being a stage actor, like, I definitely, I'm thinking about every part of the joke when I write it or when I perform it. You know, like, I try to do it as a performer without looking too stagey.
Tune in every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. and every Saturday 12 to 2 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com. This is the Artist Exchange. Real artists, real talk.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice Products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
It'll make what you're writing about richer. It'll take it from 1D, 2D to 3D, and you'll see the difference. And people will be able to know that you didn't just read this in a book, or you didn't research this on Google, but you were actually in these places, because you could smell the air, you can see the ruins, or see the architectural, you know, differences from writing from DC in your bedroom versus I'm in Egypt writing about Egypt. You know, it's a healthier difference, and it's something that I'm challenging myself and everybody around me, and then artists in general. I've really pushed that you engulf yourself. That's the difference between, you know, artists of other cultures, they get those resources beyond education, you know, to be able to explore not only their craft, but the application and the foundation of their craft. Today's topic is on diversity in the arts, and diversity doesn't just mean color or culture or sexual orientation or you know, sex. It means, you know, really creating opportunities for yourself to learn as much about your foundation first, and then everybody else's foundation as it relates to who you are. And then you'll have such a 365 atmosphere in you and what you're doing. It'll be so much richer of an experience that you'll have, and just experience it. You know, it's never too late, it's never too early, just do it. So we're back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show with Miss Zakia, sweet baby.
Hey, hey.
And I'm Nate, and we have one of the authors from the Authors Expo that will be coming up very shortly at Morgan State University, October the 7th, Saturday, October the 7th, from 11 to 5 at Morgan State University's campus in the Student Center. So definitely come on out. The Artist Exchange will be live. Miss Amira will be there with her table doing things. I saw that Sherry Woods joined us. She's a PR publishing guru. I believe she's going to be there doing a workshop. There are a number of workshops on being an author, such as PR, marketing, branding, editing, and then there's a whole empowerment side of it too, where it's health and wellness and all those fine things, and there's always a surprise guest. One of our favorite performers will be headlining the event, Dumarasi. I said his name correctly, Sonny Dumarasi. He's also one of our sponsors for this month. He has an album coming out, and we'll promote that too. But he will be headlining the show. There's always a surprise guest, so we don't know who that is until Miss Patricia tells us, you know, like 2 days before. Last year, unfortunately, he's passed away, but we had Prodigy that was there last year. So he was there with his cookbook. He went to jail, became a chef, and he wrote a book on his recipes. And some of the recipes are a little sketchy, but they're creative nevertheless. But he took his experience and created, and then in between, he's telling stories about his time in there and life after, so on and so forth. But the expo, this is our second year coming. It's an awesome event to meet other authors, other writers, other readers, and just talk to people. And meet people and get their stories behind who they are. And I always challenge the authors, find somebody to sit at your table and you go out and meet the people. Because you want to sell books, that's the whole goal. You want people to meet you, but go out and venture out. Your manager came in a few seconds ago during the break and reminded us that you have some other things coming down the line as well.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier in our discussion, I was thinking about turning this book into a series. It is set to be a series, so I kind of closed the book off like that. And again, they'll be kind of targeting different struggles, kind of elaborating on some of the characters and new characters that will be coming down the pike. So I do have the intention of setting it up as an ongoing series.
Do you have a favorite author?
Oh, that's a good question.
So recently, I've kind of looked, you know, Stephanie Meyer was kind of like the first book that I like read from beginning to end.
When you were young?
Yeah, like college, something like that. Okay, college, yeah.
So she a baby reading books?
No. No. So Stephanie Meyer, again, her book was written in first person. So I read that whole series, and I read her book, The Host, and also Sabaa Tahir. She has a series that's currently ongoing. I think her third book will be coming out soon. The first book I think she had was The Ember and the Ashes. And then Mary Lou, another young adult, again, fiction novels. So she also has another book coming out. I was just at the National Book Festival in DC, so I was touring around there, listening to the their artist panels and things like that. So I like to go to those and see what authors have to say and kind of like their process on books. So those kind of three just pop up. Yeah. So
that's one of your favorite authors or one of your favorite books that you read. Yes. Who's like, instead of who's on your iPod, who's on your bookshelf right now? Like, what books are you dying to get into right now?
Well, I haven't. Well, I'm gonna just start a book club. I don't have the name of a book, but I'm going back to like a nonfiction genre. So trying to mix it up a little bit, which I think will be a good thing. Hitting a nonfiction because I haven't read nonfiction in a while, and I think it's dealing with a character who's like a boy or something in like one of the camps that they have for the Jews. So. That's going to be like a different take. So that's the book that's on the list. Unfortunately, I don't have the name. We just got the name of the book yesterday from the book club. So that's another book that I'll be picking up and reading for the next month.
Have you been to the Holocaust Museum?
I have a long time ago. So yeah, it's a very powerful museum. I remember the first thing that jumped out at me, I think, was the pile of shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's that spiral reaction, like, the new museum that dedicated towards African and African American history. Yes. It's spread out and it just gives you time to weave in and out. But the Holocaust Museum, it's just that trail that you're going down, and it just is a little different and it's a little haunting, in that you can't miss something. You have to see everything. I mean, you can ignore it, but it's there, and you've ignored it, and it's obvious. So you have to walk around that whole spiral, going up or down, and seeing that whole journey and that whole history. So that I love that museum for that reason, but it's kind of like you can't do it too many times in a row.
Yeah, it's a lot to kind of see. Then,
Is there any places you want to go to other than Africa?
Yeah, I thought about Japan, China.
You could be learning some languages.
Yeah. And yeah, those probably the other places. Japan, China, but I do want to hit a couple places in Africa. I know my sister went to Morocco one time. I really wanted to go. And so there's several places that I think I want to hit in Africa, though. It's such a huge continent. So there's a lot to take in.
Get that travel visa and just go for it.
We will be back after this commercial break. You were listening to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, powered by BeExposedRadio.com.
Pew, 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 pew.
BeExposed Radio.
Definitely not taking responsibility for other people's emotions and things that's going on, and owning up to who you are. I know that's what you were finishing on, so you can speak more on that, sister.
Yeah, just making sure, because at the end of the day, what happens to us, especially women, we're nurturers. So by life, we tend to want to, I call men projects, like fix-me-uppers, people that come with issues. And for some reason, people, we all have issues, but people who want you to help them through their issues, So we take on projects because we get to the point to where we're like, okay, I just want to have somebody, as opposed to the quality of the person that you're getting. And then we start to own all of their issues, and we start to feel bad because things are not progressing the way that we want it to, and that's not fair to us. So we can't own somebody else's stuff. If somebody's not ready when you meet them, that's not your fault. That's theirs. It's their loss. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, what's up? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger, the host of the Charm City Direct Radio Show. Make sure you catch me and my crew every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice products can cover you from head to toe. From flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monty from Talk Lately. I want y'all to sit back and listen to this flashback.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
What does hustle hard mean to you?
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to Be Exposed. I'm sorry. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, powered by BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Zakia Ayana, aka Sweet Baby, and with me in the studio is Miss Amira Rasayan, author of 8 Pillars of Timbuktu. And before we left for commercial break, we were talking about places you would like to visit eventually, China and Japan. What about those places draw you to wanting to go there?
I think cultural richness and history. Also mentioned Morocco, the street market. My sister went there before. Very rich in terms of like the cultural in the streets, just being around the people and the scenery. I also do photography as an artist, so love that documenting process and just trying to capture cultural riches of things. So Morocco would be another pinpoint on the map. Probably some places in South Africa and other places in Africa. So Ethiopia could be one of them. So it ranges. I mean, I've been out of the country before, but that was more in like Europe, Italy.
Okay.
So, but I do want to travel more outside of the country. I think it's a very different experience and pace versus from being inside the States.
Other than the Authors Expo coming up, do you have any other events or goings on?
That's the main thing that's on the plate since it's the middle of September already. So the Author Expo is a pretty big thing. Did lots of planning for setting up and staging that. So I'll be putting a lot of energy towards the Authors Expo. So that's the next thing on my list.
Where can we find you on social media?
So my Facebook page right now is just my name, Amira Rasayan, so Amira, last name Rasayon, and I have a website for this book, and it's called The 8 Pillars, and that's with 2 E's, so THEEIGHT pillars.com. And that's where you can find a little bit more out about the book itself.
Okay, and is there any way that we could see your visual art?
I will be probably posting a video book trailer on my Facebook page soon, as well as on Instagram. So any further updates I have, I'll put on Facebook, and then people can be tagged and linked to the actual website for the book.
And what's your Instagram?
It's actually Tsuvayo, so that's TSUVAIYO.
Okay. And I have a question.
Yes.
Like, this is a question that you said you're an avid reader. Are you a one and done book reader, or do you go back and read the same book over and over?
Sometimes I'll go back and read the book again if I'm like in the mood for reading that book, but usually it's probably a one and done. I do like the tangible books, so I'll collect them and have them in my own, library collection, but I do venture out and try to explore as many new books as possible.
Do you have a vast collection of books? Like, do you collect a lot of, is your bookcase on fleek?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's spilling out. It's going underneath my bed now. I have books that are stacked there. I have 2 bookshelves, and they pile on top of each other on the shelf. So again, one of my favorite places is actually going to the bookstore, like BAM or Barnes and Noble. So it's one of my hangout spots. So I do try to keep my library pretty full and fresh.
And So, yes, well, thank you for being in the studio with me today. I enjoyed talking to you, Miss Amira Rasayan. And
it's been a pleasure for you guys having me. I've really enjoyed the time, and thank you so much for listening and the questions. So it's been a pleasure. I'm really blessed to be here. Appreciative.
Good. What are your plans for the rest of the day?
The rest of the day, well, I was just referred to the National Harbor. I was kind of, reminded of that when I was in my college days here. So I may do that, chillax for a little bit of the day. I heard there's also another comic book fair that's going on this weekend in DC, so I might also take a pit stop there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know, one of our listeners wants to know what your name means.
Okay. So Amira is actually my middle name. So it usually means princess. It's in Arabic. And my first name is Tatmira or Jenmuha. So it's based with Arabic and Egyptian. And last name is also Arabic and Egyptian, Rasayan. So Ra kind of echoing the sun god Ra in Egypt. And so it has those roots.
Okay.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting. A lot of people don't know that my name is also Arabic.
Nice.
I think people a lot of times think it's just like, oh, Zaki, it's a ghetto name, but no, it's Arabic. It means intelligent, and my middle name means beautiful flower.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
That's nice.
And so this again, y'all, this is my first time doing this alone. I always talk about how I've jumped out there. Like over the past year, I suffer from anxiety, terrible anxiety, and I was holed off a lot, due to kind of bad relationships and stuff like that. And last year, I said that I was going to put myself out there because again, I write poetry. I was trying to do open mics, but I kind of like anxiety is still beating me in that because it's people just right there looking at me, and I'm like, ugh. And I said that my writing is as close to perfection as I feel like I can get. Like that's the most perfect thing I feel like I can do, and I don't want to ruin it by saying it. Like that's my thought, so I'm working on that. But in the meantime, I was offered a gig at the radio station, so this is what I've been doing to get myself into the place where I can feel comfortable with meeting new people and talking to new people and everything. So I really appreciate you being here and just the openness and the back and forth. It was really it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It was good. It was nice. Very nice. And I appreciate you again for having me. I think this has been very good. So much appreciative.
And while we are here, I'm going to mention Appreciate the Arts upcoming event called The Art of Who. It is an artist only invite, November 11th 2017. Be on the lookout for that. That's our next event. My organization, Appreciate the Arts, we actually threw a festival last weekend, Sticky Bun Festival. That's one of my proudest accomplishments to date. And today we will be, I also have a networking event to go to this evening, so I'm really trying to push that and just push my boundaries. It's like to watch Nate come in here and just go off and go, like, I eventually want to get to that point because he's rapid fire with it. And I'm sitting here all like, I want to get there. But yeah, I'm working on that. And also we have the Baltimore Ceasefire Initiative, who last month they had the goal was to not have anyone kill anyone for 72 hours, I believe it was. And the next one is coming up November 3rd, the weekend of November 3rd. And I think it's really important to bring Baltimore together, because a lot of times, like, you're from DC, so I don't know like what the reputation is of here, like how we talked about down there.
I think each city has their own tempo and things like that. I mean, no every city has its transitions and things like that. So I'm just gonna lay on that question right there.
Well, the Baltimore Ceasefire Initiative, there's a Baltimore Peace Challenge, and they would like for everyone to tell 3 new people a day. The next Baltimore ceasefire is November 3rd through 5th. It is a commitment to be nonviolent in our thoughts, words, and actions. It's a commitment to help people get the resources they need before the ceasefire so they can feel more able to avoid violent situations. It's a commitment to plan or attend events that celebrate life that weekend. So that's something that, you know, I'm passionate about as well, and I feel like just the love that comes from the Baltimore ceasefire is necessary for the city. You are listening to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, powered by BeExposedRadio.com. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice Products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that. Cool! That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, you know, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, you know, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. Like,
yes.
I've learned I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
About to pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids and when you got a wife and then you doing everything and you know you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place you, like with this radio show, you ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Yeah, make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
Yes.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
This is the reality
of
the world that we're living in. A lot of young people don't have the information that is necessary to have healthy lives. And a lot of the organizations that are geared towards young people don't have individuals that are going to be as honest as this gentleman.
One of the issues that I have with this quote unquote Christian nation that we live in is
it's
that
not just the Christians,
religion allows you to live in denial, but the world does not live in denial. So who are you helping with your? All right, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm about to do something.
The reason I shrink that or take that away because it's people who are not religious. It's people who they're not giving their young people, or they don't have a person that could be that honest with them. I mean, we all have that. I know I had a mother like that.
There are
rather than
and it's just and it's been recently because I've recently had more interaction with teen mothers than I have in my whole life. I wasn't my mother wasn't a teen mother. Her mother was. She made sure none of her daughters were. So it was, you know, in as I get older and working in certain areas, you tend to run into that. And one of the things that blows my mind is how often a teen mom does not talk to their child at all, period, much less their daughter that they had at 15 to say, these are the realities of sex. These are the realities of the choices that you can or cannot make. These are the realities. Like, how do you not, after going through it yourself, knowing the stress, the looks, how do you then turn and look at someone else and say, all right, good luck? I mean, this is your offspring. I'm sorry. I just get very emotional about that. It bothers me that there are a great deal of people.
Hey, everybody. Check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. So how important is it for you to have an organization like that and having a child of your own? How does that influence your ability to do the Impact organization?
It influences a lot. It's a little bit challenging because a lot of times people will say, oh, like, you have to practice what you preach, right? So if I'm telling my daughter and I'm raising her under the Impact principles and I'm telling other mothers to do this, I have to do the same thing with my child, which is kind of testy a little bit, but I see a lot of development with her. Her leadership, she's only 4. And when I say she has some awesome leadership qualifications, I mean awesome. It's little things that we can observe with our kids, right?
Right.
For instance, when we take them to the park.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We're here live. Today is the African American Authors Empowerment Expo, the third Saturday. Actually, this is the last one. We've interviewed quite a few authors this summer. And we have our last few. We have 2 more. Miss Sykes is joining us. We had Miss Amira that joined us for the first hour. And Miss Sykes has come all the way down here from Dover, Delaware. And she'll be joining us for a conversation about her book, her artistry, her work, her passion, and whatever else she wants to tell us. I have a feeling she had a story behind this bright yellow exterior. But we're here, the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Definitely feel free to share it out. Let your Uncle Junebug know, and everybody know we're here live on BeExposedRadio.com. The Artist Exchange is being sponsored this month by the African American Authors and Empowerment Expo, as well as Sonny Dumarasi. He's a jazz artist, hip-hop Christian jazz artist. So definitely shout him out. All the authors are tagged in the post for the show. So definitely take a minute, click on their page, follow them, like them, and reach out to them. They want to talk. They're writers. They want to talk about their work. So without any more further ado, Miss Sykes, how are you doing today? Let people know who you are.
I am Joreen Sykes.
Joreen. Okay.
Yes. Out of Dover, Delaware.
There we go.
Yeah.
Is that where you're from?
I was raised there.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Been all over the place though.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much Dover.
Okay, so let us know about your work as an author first.
My work as an author came as a little bit as a struggle. It is about my son Marcus, who was killed in 2011. My book is basically my journal.
Okay.
I was writing for about 2 years, and towards the end of the 2 years, I decided somebody else needs to hear my story.
It was more journaling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So out of my pain, in my book.
That's a I commend you. I have one other person in my life who chose to do the same thing, and she did it as a, like, where she was, and she journaled as well, and then she mixed in her faith with it and gave people some type of what they could do to get through that moment. Not so much to solve the problem or take away the grief, but just how she got through it. It was her perspective. In reading your bio, that's a hard story, and then what was jarring was to see his face, because most times we see these books and it's so it doesn't really attach to the person that it was inspired by, so you don't really feel connected, and you make it about you, and you forget where this book or this message came from. So was it important for you to keep his name alive, or just, you know, purge in that moment?
It was important for me to keep his name alive, as well as his face. Once my book was done, it still took a process for me to decide how I wanted my cover and what I wanted my title to be. And they actually came at two separate times. So it actually came at two separate times. The photo came first, and that's actually a picture that he took himself on his cell phone. Just like that. I didn't have to, you know, do the half and half like you see it. That's how it was on his cell phone. And again, once you read the book, you'll understand.
How old was he?
He was 22 at the time. Once you read the book, you'll understand why I titled it 4 a.m. I mean, there's more than one reason why it's 4 a.m. But there's one specific reason why it's 4 a.m. But it was about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when I came up on the title, 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I put the two and two together. And I felt they both had to complement, the title had to complement the cover, and vice versa as well. And I thought, you know, his picture with the 4 a.m. was the perfect match.
What did you learn about yourself, and not even going through this, because that's a whole nother lesson, but in taking your pain and then creating based off of it? What did you learn about yourself?
I learned about myself that it was okay for me to go through what I was going through.
Put this up a little bit so you can hear that voice.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Okay, it was a process for me to accept what it was that I was going through, and I'm still, you know, coping with that today. And
there's no time limit on
no,
grief.
definitely not, definitely not. But there was a point in time where, looking back on it now, where I felt like, when it happened, how do I act, or how am I supposed to, what am I supposed to say, not say, or do, or whatever. And because I didn't know, I held back a lot of things. So now it's okay to just know to release that.
Our culture creates that tension in ourselves where we have to always be the strongest. We always have to be that silent strength. And sometimes, and most times with grief, you gotta let it out, because it'll do more damage up here than it do you sharing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was in a process where I wouldn't do it publicly.
Was that your only child?
No, I have a younger son. And I wouldn't let my emotions out publicly, because I felt that people would think that I was crazy or something was wrong with me. And it was. Something was wrong with me. I was grieving.
Right.
You know, but I was afraid to let people see that.
Right.
You know, so.
And how did that affect I asked you about your child because a number of people I know have lost children, but it normally was their only child. And some of them had other children. How did that affect your parenting? Or how has it affected or been effective for your parenting?
I think I'm more protective over my younger son now. I'm more...
was it too much in the beginning when it first happened?
Yes, it was too much. And I do think that I might have neglected him a little bit, because I didn't know how to deal with both. You know, losing my son and still care for my other.
Right.
You know, so I do think that I kind of neglected him a little.
Well, it's that idea you got to put the mask over your face first.
Right.
So you'll be strong enough to then give that person life.
Right. Right.
Wow.
But at the same time, if it wasn't for my other son, I don't know where I'd be right now, honestly.
So let's keep his name alive. Tell us his story, as much of it as you feel comfortable sharing.
As far as what happened?
As what happened, who he was.
Okay.
Because that's not his dash.
No.
You know, let's hear about his dash, that dash in life.
Definitely not. He was a very vibrant, smart individual. He was my life, both of my children. They were my life. Just Marcus. Oh wow.
Marcus, tell us his name.
Marcus LaJohn Ware. He didn't like his middle name too much.
He'll grow into it.
Yeah, exactly. When he was born, he literally took my breath away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was you know, that moment when I looked at him, and I mean, I remember like it was yesterday. It was just like, you know, it's like, wow, he's here. You know, and I just never stopped loving him since.
Was he easy? Was it?
Oh yeah, yeah. His birth was easy. Raising him was easy. Everything but Marcus was easy. It was. He's the type of kid that would literally give you, you know, if he didn't know you and he saw that you was in some type of situation, he would help you. You know, he was just that type of kid. I remember an incident in, I think he was in 9th grade, and he was in school. He saw another female being bullied. Didn't know either one of the people that was in the altercation. But he saw a female in being bullied, and he stepped in, got into a fight with the boy that was doing the bullying, and got suspended. When they called me to the school, they told me what happened. All I could do was smile, because I knew that Mark, that's his personality. I couldn't be mad at him for doing what he was doing. Granted, fighting is fighting and it's wrong, but you know, I commend him for doing what he did.
Because most people wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. And he was like that all throughout his life.
So take us to that morning or that night that this happened to you. How did you find out?
I was actually living in Wilmington, Delaware at the time. I'm originally from Dover, which you know is about an hour and a half apart, an hour apart. And I got the knock on the door. I'm not going to say what time, but I got the knock on the door, and you know, they told me what happened. The incident had happened about, I think it was like 1:52 in the morning. Because of the travel distance, you know, that's why I didn't get the call till, you know, the notification till later. But it happened at a gas station in Dover. Marcus, when we moved to Wilmington, out of both my children, Marcus was the one that didn't want to go to Wilmington, only because he was leaving his friends and you know, leaving
it's
behind.
a different life. It's like two different areas.
Exactly. And but my youngest son, you know, he's for whatever. You know, he's like, okay, Mom, let's go. But so Marcus had a job where he would leave for work Sunday night and wouldn't come home until sometime on Friday. He worked for a company out of New Jersey. They would go into like the Home Depots and they fix, you know those things you see in the ceilings. They do that kind of work. So the work had to be done at nighttime while the stores were closed. And they would go to like South Carolina, Virginia, you know, those types of cities. So he'd be gone for all the week. So when he comes home on the weekends, you know, Marcus wants to go be with his friends. He goes back to Dover. That particular day, he didn't come home.
Wow. So. Did you? They always say, because Zakia is a mom too, and I know my mom, like, she'll call me before I even get a chance to think about who I'm gonna tell. Did you feel something or?
I did not.
Okay.
And I felt bad for that because it was almost like, what was my motherly connection? You know, was that connection that him and I were supposed to have had? However, I will say that I spoke to him the Wednesday before it happened, and our last words to each other was, "I love you."
Okay.
So I am thankful for that.
And that, I think sometimes, and that was kind of my follow-up, like, when you don't feel like, you know your child, so you know what they're into, you know, kind of their mannerisms and their temperament. So worry is not normally a normal feeling.
I never felt like I had to worry about Marcus in anything. I always felt in my heart that he would do the right thing. Not to say that he was innocent or he wasn't out there doing something that most parents, you know, would object to. It's just that I think that at the end of the day, he would always do the right thing, and I always felt that way about him.
What was the, and I don't want to always connect it to a lesson, but what was the message that you got, or you feel like you're getting, or that you feel like you will get at some point based on this happening? Like, what overall message do you get from this?
I want for every youth to read my book. because I want them to see what it's like for someone on my side to be going through this.
Right.
I want them to think that I could be their mother that's writing this book about them.
Right.
You know, this is the other side of violence, and they need to see it. They need to see it. They need to see it firsthand.
And nobody's exempt from it.
Exactly. Nobody's exempt. Nobody's exempt. And once it's like once the funeral is over and everything, it's like you don't hear anything else unless you're directly associated with that family. You don't know what's going on, and I want them to see what's going on.
Because for me, I think, and maybe it's just my family, but I think in the black culture in general, it's that week you get all this pouring support and
then it slowly just trickles away.
Because people just, they don't know what to say at that point. They don't want to keep bringing it up. They don't know how to face you. But for some reason in our community, after that week, we don't eat together. We go back to our life, and that's where it starts.
And I actually talk about that.
That's powerful, because that's when people need you the most.
Right.
When the calls stop.
Right.
When the food stop being brought over, so on and so forth. That's when people need you the most, because that silence.
Right.
You know, Benzo, you had another child, and you still had a life that you had to get up and live. That's when people need you the most. Even if it's just like a little tap on the door or a text message. People need that.
Right.
That's part of the grieving process.
Even if you don't say anything, just you being there, could be enough.
Yeah. Was it hard for you to just get up that next day? Like, how was the get up process that very next day?
The first couple, I'd have to say the first couple of weeks, I don't really have that much memory. I honestly don't even remember the funeral
on
too much.
autopilot.
Yeah, exactly. But I do know that I was very tired. Even though I was told I was sleeping, I felt like I wasn't. You know, it was just
because your mind's still moving.
Exactly. Exactly.
Was it how? Like, I could never imagine burying like a younger family member or a child. And either one, I guess you can speak to this. What does that feel like? Like, this is somebody that was supposed to be there for you in a moment like that, not the opposite.
Well, definitely a parent's never supposed to bury a child, especially one so young. You know, and
I've heard that so much on the news the last couple of years.
Yeah, and the emptiness you feel is tremendous. It's overwhelming. It's confusing. You know, you don't know what's left, what's right sometimes.
Right.
So
I can only imagine. So the process between, when did you know this could help somebody else? This story, what you were journaling, what you were living through and growing in, how did you connect that I need to share this story? This could help somebody.
I was writing for about 2 years. Towards like the last...
Were you writing before that though?
No, I've never written ever.
Okay.
Ever. And actually someone encouraged me to write.
To just journal.
Yeah, and I was writing sometimes and didn't even realize I was writing. When I had to go back and put this in a, type this up, I was like, I wrote that? You know, so I didn't really realize I was writing so much. But I have to say about the last 2 months of me, of the 2 years of me writing, that's when it kind of hit me that somebody else could benefit from this. And even after...
That's a lot of writing.
Yeah, even after it was, in book format and I got my proof copy, it was still a struggle for me to let go. Because these are my words, these are my personal thoughts, and this is my heart. How am I supposed to let go and let somebody else witness this?
What was that arc for you? Anger, frustration. This has happened to my life, and I just wanted the why would not stop. Just that why in your head, like why, not why this happened, but why, and you don't even have a direction for it, but why. So how loud was that why in your head? Did you get any resolve for that why?
I never got any resolve for that why. Never. To this day.
And you still have to be in that area. You still have to live in that area.
I went back to that area because I felt like I needed to, because that's where I buried my son. Even though I was living in Wilmington, I buried him in Dover because that's where we were from.
Right.
And I moved back to Dover because I felt like I needed to be close to him.
has it been helpful? How long have you been back then?
It's been almost 4 years now since I've been back.
Is it? Is the question, because you think about if this has happened to you, and I've never lost a child, so I don't know what that, because that's like literally a part of you now, not here. So how do you speak to mothers that are fresh in this, or fathers or parents or family members that are fresh in this moment?
I can only speak from when I talk to them, I tell them my experience, because a lot of times not just this in the book, a lot of times you get people who have not experienced this close of a death, and they'll tell you what they think, you'll get over it as such, you should be over it here, or I understand what you're going through. You don't understand what I'm going through.
You should be
exactly. No, you grieve on your own time.
So we gonna drop this commercial. I mean, not just commercial. This break at this moment. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show.
Focus on the word take for a moment.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I mean, when I begin to just, think about take, when you taking something. Yes, we think about, the possession and grab and hold, but when you taking something on, you're capturing it, you're securing it, and you become impregnated with that.
Wow.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Do yourself a favor and listen to this hilarious flashback on Charm City Direct Radio Show.
You know me. I eat like this all the time. Do I gain any weight? No, at all. You can have my belly, right? I'm giving away body parts. Somebody said they need a butt. Somebody said they need
I can use a little extra tissue there.
I can pop it. Right now.
He out here giving out butt cheek donations. Hey everybody, it's your girl, the magical glow getter herself, Anissa Maureen, co-host of the Charm City Direct Radio Show. Catch me and the rest of my team every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice Products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Then he's gone. If we don't represent that day in somebody's life, and how do you do that respectfully? And nobody's perfect. Everybody has their flaws, but how do you keep somebody's name alive? Because this was senseless. It had no reason or merit to happen, but there's still a message in that. So I'm all about how do we move forward in terms of keeping that person alive and keeping that name going, so we don't, you know how you lose somebody And some people can keep a voicemail or something like that, so you keep the sound alive. But it's more than that sometimes.
And that's actually sometimes I feel like it scares me because sometimes I feel like I'm losing that sound of his voice, his laugh, and you know, those types of things. And I'm trying desperately to hold on to it.
And it's helpful sometimes. I remember my mother. She paid my grandmother's cell phone bill for like 5 years.
Wow.
Just so she could call the number and hear that voice again. Wow. Because we didn't take a lot of video in our family, so it was no way.
Yeah, and I didn't take. He wasn't a picture taker.
Yeah. And that's sometimes that's like the thing that helps you. You know, you can go back to that Facebook page and just
and I keep his Facebook page alive. I'm commenting on it all the time. I post something, I share it to his page.
And because I asked a question a couple months ago. What do you do if somebody passes away on your page? Like, do you erase them? Do you keep it going? And it was interesting the responses, because I'll go and you'll have an event and you're adding people, and I'll see my uncle's name pop up, or I'll see my cousin's name pop up, and it's like, you know, you feel some kind of way, but I'll just add them. You know, when I'm inviting people to the live, I'll just, they're on the list, I'm gonna add them, and it makes you feel some kind of way when you try to avoid it. And you feel the struggle, so just go with it.
I personally, like, I have a few friends and even family members that have passed. That's on my still Facebook friend. Yeah, we back on air. But that's still Facebook friends of mine, and I even go like if I personally hold on to the spirit and the essence of who these people were. Even down, like, my grandfather passed 15 years ago. I live my life in the way that he taught me how to live. Like, that's how I refuse to let anybody make me bitter or anything, because that's the legacy that I got from my grandfather. And I'm not going to let a person take me out of that. No, you know, because a lot of times people are like, well, how are you still, and how did you go through this, and you still you're not bitter? No, because my grandfather told me that his nickname for me was Sweet Girl. So I live my life based off of what his legacy was to me. And then as far as Facebook pages go, like, I'll even go and visit if somebody crossed my mind is passed, I'll go visit their Facebook page and say, hey, just think about you, you know, and just, you know, I feel like it's important to keep that memory and keep the thought, keep the spirit energy around you of the people that you care about. You might not think about them all the time and all day, every day, but when that thought does cross your mind, I think it's helpful to have stuff like, have a tangible way to acknowledge who they were.
So the conversation doesn't stop, but we're going to say hello to Miss Maya, the poet.
Hello.
I said this name like 5 different ways.
Miss Camilla the Killer.
Wow.
Yo, I'm so happy she's in here. She's real life one of my favorite people that I like over the past year. The people that I've been meeting, Camilla, the thing that stood out to me, what drew me into you did a live, and you had put words in a hat. And you pulled these words out the hat, just random words, and was like, I'm gonna do a freestyle with these words. Y'all ready? And you went, and yes, and she went and did it, and I was like, hey, yo, right? I'm like, this girl right here. Yes, she the one, and I remember it like it was yesterday, because that's what made me want to step. Like, that's one of the things that made me want to step my game up. Like, so amazing. Like, yes, I love her. One of my favorite people.
So we gonna challenge you. So we gonna write some words down.
I mean, yeah, that's what I do.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and.
So my name is Maya Camilla. That's the name my mama gave me, but I go by Camilla the Killer in these streets.
Okay. Okay.
I've been ding, 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 ding. I've been doing poetry for about 10 years now. I just realized that it's like 10 years. I turned 20. I turned 26 at the end of the month.
Oh shit!
Shout out to the 20s. Shout out to the 20s, making it happen. And I started writing poetry and like really being focused and serious about it when I was 16. So it was like, dang, I've been doing this for 10 years. And
who broke your heart?
Who broke my heart? So like, I want to say it was my father.
Oh, okay.
Like I started writing because I had intense daddy issues, and I'm still getting on to this day. But shout out to you, Philip. I love you. And I was just tired of. I was really depressed from like 13 to 17, and I still deal with depression in my adult life. And one day I was really low, and I was like you. I always wanted to perform. I was always singing. I was on choir and dance ministry and mom and
a little
liturgical, all this. That was and I was reading scripture. I love speaking in front of people.
Pull the mic a little closer to you.
I love. Is that better?
Yeah.
I love speaking in front of people. It's really it's therapeutic for me. Really, it's peaceful. And so for 13 to 17, I wasn't doing that as much at all. Really, it's always like I need to do something, and I wanted to be Biggie Smalls when I was a kid. So like, why not start writing? And then I joined the theater program when I was 17, and they was like, Maya, you should be like a poet. I'm like, wow,
okay,
all right,
that's what you call it. Okay,
that's what you do it, because I'm not on no beat. I don't have no tracks. It's just me and my voice. So yeah, being a poet is that. It's fun.
It's awesome. Fun. Writing, I've learned, and I'm not a person. I wrote because the class required me to write. That was it. But I'm learning that writing can be a way. I taught a theater writing class this summer, and it taught me that words are powerful.
Yes.
And we can speak anybody else's truth all day long, but it's so much more powerful when it's our story, when we have control over the narrative that is out there about ourselves, and it's the truth. And it teaches you how to really tell the truth. Because when you first start writing, I'm quite sure when you were journaling, it was just mainly about, what was making you feel better. It wasn't necessarily the truth and what you were going through, or your son's story, Marcus's story, or your daddy. It wasn't the truth. It was just cotton candy. Or it was the total opposite. It was just anger and frustration, which is not always the truth either, because you're just reacting to a feeling. But the more you write, the more truth you begin to showcase and be able to show to the world. To both of you, how hard is it to really put yourself, and you, this is your first time author, but you a poet for 10 years, how hard or easy is it for you to just tell the blank truth, just the utter truth?
So, I gotta give a quick, it's been very hard, but then it's been very easy, because I wrote about being evicted when I was like 17.
Ooh.
And
that's pride.
I'm 17, I'm in the theater program with a bunch of other teenagers. I don't know what they're going through, and I'm on stage in front of their families and their friends and my mother and my grandmother and people I don't know. I'm telling them eviction day, mom just couldn't pay, and
well, your mother probably was like,
I didn't tell her, and I never thought about it, because I'm just speaking my truth, and how that felt to be seeing my mom, who worked jobs after jobs and was going to school and taking care of us, and what she did wasn't enough to pay the landlord, and that's just a truth, and it's neither bad nor good. It was my interpretation of the time, and that was younger, but as I've gotten older, and I now write about my love life and who I've loved and why I love people, it's a little tougher, because I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I don't want to not speak my truth.
Right.
So for a while I would censor myself, but now I'm back to straight up truth. I don't not that I don't care as much as writing the pieces when I was younger, and being so honest and so truthful, and just saying exactly what I meant, didn't care how it came out or who it offended. It was just me speaking. I think I healed from those traumatic times in my life. Whereas now, not now, but in the past, I still, some of those things that hurt me or that have been tough for me, I still deal with them. Because I don't think I really spoke my truth in those moments. So
when you're 26 now, so when you start, and for me it happened at 30, but that truth is necessary to sustain life. That's a breathing exercise that we do, and we get out. Breathing is necessary to sustain life, but truth to me, and telling your truth, and sometimes everybody isn't privileged for your truth. So everybody don't need to know your business, but speaking your truth in the moment. If somebody hurt you, you hurt me. This is why I'm hurt. This is what I'm feeling. This will never happen again. Training people how to treat you through the truth is necessary in life, and the problems don't go away because you tell the truth.
Right.
It actually sometimes makes the problem worse because now you're not telling your truth, and now you're mad at me for telling you my truth as it pertains to you or how I'm feeling. But just telling that truth is necessary. What about you?
Well, like I said, this was my journal. So in the 2 years that I was writing, nobody knew I was writing. My husband didn't even get privileged to it because I felt like what I'm saying is just between me and my son.
Right.
So whatever is in this book is true to word in my journal. I didn't change a thing. So this is my truth.
Wow.
I say some things. I call some people out. They've read it. They knew who they are. I didn't name them by last name, first name maybe, but they know who they are. And if you hurt me, I told you hurt me. I told you why you hurt me. So everything in this book is my truth. I didn't change a thing.
And that's a powerful thing to be able to do, and it creates other conversations because now either we got to think about what this relationship is, how we fix this, or a split. And people, they're not ready for that. And I wasn't in my 20s. I wasn't ready for that. Because I needed everybody, come on, let's be this happy, because I didn't have that growing up. So I needed these dysfunctional people too around me. And then you learn at some point, no, I'm good by myself. I can handle this. I came in here by myself and I can leave by myself. So you got to really speak the truth no matter what it costs. Like, it may cost you that job or that opportunity. But that job wasn't yours to begin with. That opportunity wasn't yours.
It cost me a job last year. I was the only young black person in my office, and the president of the company showed this video, and my supervisor was a black woman, and then her friend was a black woman, but they were both out the office away, and I was the only person there of color. And the supervisor, the manager, president, whatever, he had this video, and I found it very inappropriate and offensive, and I was like, this is inappropriate, and I don't want to watch this, and I don't think this is something that we should have to watch at a business lunch. And I say what I'm going to say, and he's like, well, I think it's funny, and I think it's good that we're talking about this in America. He goes on this like white man tangent, and I'm just sitting here, I'm standing in my truth, like, this is not funny. Black men die every day in my neighborhood. Like, people get arrested and stopped every day. This is my truth. This is my life. There's nothing to kiki about. And everyone else at the table got really quiet, and you know how they get, like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to say anything. And then I'm like, I get up, I'm like, excuse me, I'm finished, I'm going back to my office. And then one of the ladies that worked there, she came into my office and was like, I felt what you were saying, and I support you for what you're saying, and
but you didn't say anything in the room.
Right.
While he was coming down my throat, and I'm like, this is my first time being in this experience, but I know that I'm supposed to speak the truth. Like, don't come for me. This is my life. I'm telling you. And she comes to me later, and she's talking and all this stuff, and I'm just like, okay, Becky. And I think I lasted like 2 more months at that job after that. Like,
you could feel it.
I could feel it. I used to have panic attacks going to work. It was so bad. It was so bad.
So this is an interesting conversation that we're having, and I am going to say, because we don't have a lot of time left, I want the two of you to come back and continue to talk. So that's another reason for you to come get a crab cake. It's on me the next time.
Ooh, crab cakes. I love crab.
But this is grief, healing, and just speaking your truth are things that I said I'm going into my 30s with. In the last 4 years, I've tried my best to be as honest, and I still hesitate a little bit because everybody can't take the truth. And it's just, they're not at a place where they can accept it. So I still speak my mind, and I just walk away from it. I don't explain it anymore. I don't feel the need to like give you the ins and outs of it. Like, look, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Look, this is my truth. I'm not going to give you a cushion. You should have that in your own life.
Right.
So I have to get that across. But my question to you, one of my final questions to you would be, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? Not to prevent anything, because you still have to live life, but what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self to kind of give them a warning, like, hey, this is going to happen in life. This is what you have to do.
17-year-old Maya.
Because the 17 itself didn't still like will listen to you. Right. They have the knowledge to get through that situation.
Oh gosh, I would tell my 17-year-old self.
It was only like 2 seconds ago.
No,
I know, right?
No, 17 seems so long ago for me, y'all. Like
in today's world, it is.
Like,
it really is.
I feel like 17 was the 90s, but it really wasn't. It was like 10 years
ago.
Right. Because never mind. I would tell 17-year-old Maya to keep going, to stay persistent and consistent, and even when you want to go out and shake your booty,
go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Get some rest.
Get some rest. Drink some water. Learn about yourself. Like all these things that I like. Do these things, Maya. You'll be fine. It'll be fine. You can shake your butt next week. Like, that's what I would tell her. And she'd probably be like, whatever. I turned 18 in 2 weeks. I'm an adult, whatever. But I would still tell her, drink some water, sit down, sis. Calm down. Several seats. But yeah.
Miss Sykes.
I would tell myself that raising black men as a single parent is not going to be easy.
That's
some truth.
That's it. That's a woo. And I'm pro-black. I don't care what your origin is, what your color is, your complexion. Being black is hard.
Absolutely.
Specifically being, and I've never been a woman, so I can't speak for being a black woman. But being a black man, we are not supposed to share anything inside of us. We can't express when something hurts. We can't express when something rubs us the wrong way. What we truly feel, without how expansive our thoughts really are. And everything has to stay bottled up inside of us. So our mistakes are always under the covers and under the radar. And we have to live in a space where we're constantly not living in our truth. And as black men, we just, like, I remember getting up in church. You know how sometimes you're in church and you say stuff that you're like, where did that come from? That wasn't what I intended to say at this moment. And the last time I visited my old church, the pastor there, she said, I feel like somebody had something to say, and she was looking at me, and I got up, and of course, like, I don't know how this lady make me cry all the time, but I just started crying, and I was just like, black man, it's just hard. Like, it's not easy, and then you have to go through this point with telling your story, and then the reaction and the judgment, and then nobody knows what that feels like, to fear. No, and you know that it's coming. You know that what people are going to think and what they're going to say. And you have to live a life regardless of what people are going to think. And growing up where everything about your business is everybody's business in the community that we live in. You know, nothing is sacred. And you still have to get up and live. So I commend you for having the strength to tell Marcus's story, to tell your journey as it pertains to your son's death, and just having that energy to then share it with everybody, the world at this point. Because I'm going to share this book. I'm going to tell people, because this is like the third book that I've had to read that is on this topic. And when is it enough? We can blame everybody, but those three fingers pointing back to us are louder than any finger we can point at anybody else or blame. We are at the hands of this, and we're not doing anything, and we're just sitting there just, you know, another mother is telling her story.
Right. I also want to add, before you close out, that in the coming weeks I'll be starting a podcast called Not Just a Statistic. And it's basically to put a face to not just my son, but to other families, to show that they're more than just a court number that, you know, the legal system assigns to our children, to our boys. You know, they
or dash.
Right, exactly, exactly. They were loved. They were somebody's father, somebody's brother. You know, it's to highlight the positive things about that person. It's not to the podcast is not to place blame or to talk about the person that offended us, but it's simply just to highlight our children.
Celebration.
I'm a request. I'm sending my information in because I want to talk. But thank you.
Absolutely.
That's strength beyond strength. And strength is not measured by what you went through. It's how you reacted to what you went through.
Yes,
so that defines your strength. That defines your character. So I commend you for coming back. And I want you two ladies to come back because I'm going to give you two the whole 2 hours. Because I know it's more behind this. And we will read the book and we're going to definitely be able to regurgitate. So you're going to be the first person that we get on the 7th of October at the expo because I have questions and I have questions and questions. And Miss Lady,
Miss Camilla the Killer,
yes, leave us with some parting words. Some dope parting words.
Some dope parting words. Y'all want a poem? Oh, I could do some quick promo.
Do your promo, but then we will end with some dope words.
Okay, so I just said it. I turned 26 at the end of the month, and I'm having a poetry event at the Sand Gallery, 823 East Baltimore Street. Come out and hang out with us on the 29th. That's my actual birthday. Poets, rappers, singers. It's going to be lit. It's a celebration of life. Because I almost died earlier this month, but that's a whole nother episode.
Oh, wow.
And
next time.
So that's just the major thing. September 29th is a celebration of life at the Sand Gallery. Make sure you follow me, Camilla the Killer, on Instagram. Camilla the Killer _ on Instagram and Twitter. And follow the Sand Gallery.
What's the date? The time? It's not a public event.
No, it is a public event. September 29th, 2017. 8:08 is when the poetry and paint is going to start, and at 10:10, that's when the birthday celebration turn up.
Sell art, not drugs.
Sell art, not drugs. The best art gallery in the Baltimore City. Shout out to Billy. Shout out to the squad. Gang, gang.
Some of my favorite people.
Like,
I'm down there every week.
What's up, Panda? Come on, Vince. Push through. Elisa with the empanadas. We got
and the dream
all.
catchers.
Yes. Like shout out to Amber. It's food there.
Oh,
yes, there's gonna be food. Elisa's gonna have empanadas. We're gonna have drinks there. I'm gonna get my auntie to make me a cake. It's gonna be lit.
Oh, cake
lit.
And empanadas.
And empanadas and the balloons that say 26. Just gonna let y'all know that. Okay, that's it. But yeah, September 29th at the Sand Gallery, 808. We're gonna have poetry and paint, and then at 10:10 we're gonna have the turn up. So come through.
So we gonna share that out for you. I'm gonna give you one.
Give me 3 words. It's 3 people. Give me 3
words.
Marcus. Okay.
You have a word. I chose Marcus, so you gotta choose another word.
I'm good with that.
Give us another word since you got you.
Oh goodness, you come up. I'm thinking.
Destiny.
Hope.
Okay. All right. Can I touch it or
touch it? Go ahead.
Can I touch it? That's what she said. All right. Marcus, Destiny, Hope. See, I never got a chance to lay my eyes on brother Marcus, but I know several brothers that live his life. I can only assume that he had a mother that worked hard and worked really hard to make sure his life wasn't full of strife. But the call of the outside world was strong, and everything tells you that your destiny is one thing and that you're hopeless. But I'm here to tell you that there's hope for the hopeless. See, you are blessed. Crafted and made in the image of greatness. See, the earth is ours, the earth is our maker, and we are made of incredibleness, so let's be incredible together. I am here to tell you, lift your voice and sing. You have everything inside you that have made you the king that you are. Be a star. See, I never knew Marcus, but I know boys that might live his life. I hope that they know that life is not meant to be full of strife and wearing RIP t-shirts to make everything all right. I want you to know that I love you, even if you don't hear it every night. Peace.
Woo! That has been the Artist Exchange. Thank the both of you.
Yes, thank you.
Amira, our first guest. I really appreciate you all for tuning in. I appreciate both of you for taking the time to come join us today. Real quick, let us know where we can find your book.
You can find the book on my website at www.read4am.com or www.dreamsites.com. You can also find it on Amazon.
Hey, Amazon.
So that's it. The last word. We'll be back next week, Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Peace out.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades?